morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Claudia Lainez, the Worker Center Director at Acompáñenos. We're here today to announce 3 resolutions that have passed in support of the Ecuadorian community across Minnesota. Minnesota is the first state to lead in the nation in a resolution campaign for TPS for Ecuador. Please join me in welcoming Minneapolis City Council member Jason Chavez.
Hi everyone, Jason Chavez, Ward 9 City Council member, honored to be here with Copal, our community members and members of the City Council, particularly from Columbia Heights and friends from the St. Paul City Council. As you all know, St. Paul, Columbia Heights, and Minneapolis all passed resolutions in support of a TPS resolution for the Ecuadorian community. As you all know, many immigrants from Ecuador are coming to Minneapolis, to Minnesota, to this state and country, and we deserve a government that's going to protect and help them find job opportunities. So I'm very excited that the Minneapolis City Council stood strong in support of our Ecuadorian community, but also know that this fight is not over and we need to do more than just this resolution as we help our immigrant community in the United States. A couple of things that the Minneapolis City Council is going to be working on. We're going to be working with folks that are in this room today and our community members outside of here on adding immigration status as a protected class to our civil rights ordinance. And then, as you all know, many immigrants are trying to survive on the street right now, just selling fruit, selling food and vending. And we're going to be passing a street vending and sidewalk ordinance to make sure that these vendors, these entrepreneurs, are not getting fined, that are not getting treated like criminals, and actually are treated like the entrepreneurs that they are. So I'm just very excited to be here with Copal, who has been working really, really hard on this resolution. And yeah.
And now we have Columbia Heights City Council member Rachel James.
Thank you, Claudia. First, I'd like to thank Copal and especially Claudia for all of their assistance in drafting and working on this resolution. I'm here with my fellow council members from Minneapolis and St. Paul because we care about people in our communities. And Columbia Heights, we're a small community of 22,000, but we voted unanimously for this resolution because we care about our neighbors and our Ecuadorian families are here. Our school district has been welcoming students. I work at a church. We've had families come and just work toward blessing our community, helping, serving, and they need temporary protected status, along with all the other countries that are already on our country's temporary protected status. We'd like the Department of Homeland Security to add Ecuador so that people can be protected while they wait for our very long immigration process so they can work, so they can help our communities. So again, I'm very thankful for this work, and I hope our federal legislators and our president and the Department of Homeland Security listen to us here in Minnesota and say, please add the Ecuadorian community to the list of temporary protected status countries. Thank you.
And now we have somebody from the a representative from St. Paul City Council member Abid, but I'm sorry, I mispronounced your name.
Everyone, my name is Abdi Hamid Badri, and I'm here joining you all from the Ward 5 office in St. Paul City Council on behalf of Council Vice President Marjan Kim. We're really excited and very grateful for Copal for including us in this campaign. Our resolution also, similar to Columbia Heights, passed unanimously with the full support of the council. And, you know, I can't overstate anything that's been said already. Our migrant population are really, really critically important to the Twin Cities, to the city of St. Paul. And it's crucial that we do everything we can to support their livelihoods, their ability to find jobs, and find housing and be able to provide for their families and be able to find the safety and stability that they weren't able to get. And again, just thank you all for including us in this campaign. We're so excited to support and hopefully push for the federal government to grant Ecuador TPS.
And now we have someone from the community, someone from the collective that has been working and doing a lot of things. So here is Grace. She's from the collective from Ecuador.
Good morning. My name is Grace Puchesela. I'm an Ecuadorian, and it's very pleasant for me to be able to speak as a representative of the Ecuadorian collective. I have witnessed how the crisis in Ecuador has been manifesting itself in various aspects that have deeply affected our society, from economic and political problems to natural and social disasters. We have faced challenges that have shaken the foundations of our nation. The lack of economic stability and job opportunities has left many Ecuadorian families, including very close friends, struggling to survive without a clear horizon of hope and progress. In this context, for many Ecuadorians, the desperate idea of migrating to the United States without return becomes the only option to escape violence and poverty. Hoping on the search of better life and the hope of finding opportunities. However, the journey to this country is dangerous and full of uncertainty. Many risk their lives crossing borders and facing the possibility of being detained and deported at any time. Once in the United States, uncertainty contains for those who are in the irregular immigration status. They live in constant fear of deportation, hindering their ability to build a stable life and contribute full to the American society. That is why the TPS represents a humanitarian and practical solution for Ecuadorian migrants in the United States. Not only will it allow our compatriots to work, but it also provides security and stability to those who have fled violence and poverty in Ecuador. It's important to mention that TPS will benefit both nations significantly, since it will allow migrants to contribute to the United States economy, while on the other hand, it will relieve pressure on Ecuador by reducing the burden of those desperately seeking to leave the country due to violence and lack of opportunities. We therefore urge the relevant authorities to act quickly and compassionately in considering this request, to provide the necessary support to those who need it the most. Thank you for your attention and support to this just and noble cause.
And now we're going to have our executive director.
Buenos dias. Good morning, everyone. I'm Francisco Segovia, Executive Director of Wiscopal. It is an honor for me as well to be here speaking about and on behalf of our Ecuadorian community. While we are doing this, let's keep in mind that it is urgent that we have an immigration reform that will impact everyone who, for whatever reasons, ended up in this part of the world, but is contributing to better the United States and, in this case, Minnesota. The stories that we hear today and we hear constantly here at the Worker Center, it is the very same stories that for generations this country has experienced. From the migrations of Europeans to the Africans to Asians to Latin America, the story is the same, looking for opportunities and a better quality of life. And so that's what we are doing here at Copal, understanding that migration oftentimes is not an option, but many people are forced to do it. Many families are forced to do it. And what we do here is basically welcome those families, support them to get the skills that they need to be able to thrive. And by thriving, they also are contributing greatly to the economy of the state, in this particular case, to our cities that have embraced them with these resolutions. So thank you for being here. And if you have any questions, this is an opportunity to ask them. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. There's a couple of events coming up. One of them is a major event in Washington, D.C. On June 6th. The Ecuadorian community from all over the states are gathering there to pretty much express the immediate need for an approval for TPS for Ecuador. Aside from that, we're also engaging with different communities throughout the Twin Cities. First of all, to let them know what a TPS is and to avoid any sort of, mishandling of the situation. There are people who unfortunately take advantage of this, and we want to avoid anything of that nature from people who may want to take some sort of advantage of the situation. What was your name and your role? Julio Alvarado. I am part of the collective.
Yeah, so TPS is a temporary protection status that is usually granted to those countries that have any natural disasters or they have any armed conflict. A lot of countries already have this program. I am from El Salvador and I am a TPS beneficiary since 2001. And there are many countries. Honduras already has TPS, Haiti, and Venezuela.
Just one more question. What would this mean for, so for example, if TPS is granted, what would this mean for new arrivals? Would this encourage more people to come from Ecuador?
No, it depends. I think it's not going to be eligible for anybody who's going to be coming into the country. It's for those that have been here for a long time. But it depends on what the regulations are going to be once they pass. Usually there is a date that it is set, and it's not for anybody who will be coming to the States.
So it's only for people who are already in the United States.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And if I can expand the issue of immigration, the idea is that many of us, I migrated to the United States and without documents in 1990. The idea that many of us wants to come to the United States, it is a myth. Oftentimes we want to stay in our homes if our homes are stable, politically speaking, and but the idea that some of these things may motivate other people to come, still, again, if the economy is not doing well, obviously that will motivate people to go anywhere. Within that context and expanding to what Claudia said, number one, a TPS is a temporary protected status, which is basically means that for a portion, for a period of time, a person can get a status, number one, and also a work permit. And while that is a temporary solution, is not a permanent solution. So that's an important piece as well, because as Claudia mentioned, many Salvadorians has been in this legal limbo for many, many years, and it still is unknown if they are going to be able to stay in the United States because they had to renew it every 18 months. And so every 18 months, the uncertainty of getting that document back is there. And so we have families here who have been for many, many years and still don't know if they are ever going to become residents or even citizens. So that's an important piece to take into consideration, that yet it is good to have it, but it's not the final solution.
If this doesn't pass, how scary is this for so many people?
I would like to invite someone from the Ecuadorian community to say if this doesn't pass, what is the impact?
I think it's important to understand that Ecuador, despite being a third world country that has suffered poverty throughout many years, it's been a quiet country. In fact, I would like to say in the last couple years, it's been the home to many American citizens who retire and find a retirement place, a perfect place to retire. The last few years, the drug cartels are struggling for ownership of, I guess, various parts of the territory there to transport drugs from southern countries, and has turned Ecuador into a country that we've never seen before. People being forced out of their homes, basically either pay or die. We've seen stories of complete families, regardless of their status. I mean, politicians being killed in front of crowds, and things that we've never experienced before. Forcing people to move not only out to the U.S. but other countries, out to Europe and so forth. Now, imagine all these people going back because they're scared for their lives. You know, they want to survive. Obviously, going back to the hands of those that have been threatening them for whatever time. There's no security whatsoever. The authorities cannot protect them at all, and it's pretty much sending them to their own death.
Question. I would imagine you're probably keeping a very close eye on the upcoming election, especially if Trump wins. He wants, immigration to be pretty much non-existent. So, what are your thoughts on
on the upcoming election?
I mean, obviously, it is a concern for many of us for the type of statements that sometimes comes out of those campaigns. The reality is that, as Julio mentioned, people were forced to leave. They left very unsafe places. They are making Minnesota home, Minneapolis, Columbia Heights, and St. Paul home. And the uncertainty that will come with the results of the elections is something that we cannot avoid, but at the same time, we'll have to navigate as we see the results of it. And so there is not much that we can do other than keep educating that community as a whole, because sometimes the opinion that people can have about somebody else that is new to the country. We know the history of the United States. Irish people were not white people, so therefore they were forced to do other things. And we know the history of the United States. So we now understand that Ecuadorians may be the next enemies to fight against. And so our job as an organization is to keep educating the community, the white community, the African American, the Asian, the entire community, even the immigrant community, about these brothers and sisters are coming here because they are looking for refuge, a place to live. And therefore, that's the history of the United States anyway. But I don't have an answer because I don't know what that will look like. But our work is educating elected officials, that community, and fighting for the rights of our community members.
Questions? No? Well, thank you everybody for coming today.